signed those papers? With his mistress sitting right beside him, and his wife. She didn't flinch, not once. But when the judge opened his mouth, every smug smile in that courtroom died on the spot. The tension in the courtroom could slice through air. The only sound was the scratch of a pen. Daniel Wallace's pen, dragging across the divorce papers that would end 12 years of marriage. He didn't even look up. Didn't glance once toward the woman who had stood by him. Through every storm beside him sat the reason this moment existed. A young woman with perfect makeup and an even more perfect smirk. The judge's gaze lifted. Slow and cold. Mr. Wallace, he said quietly, are you sure you wish to sign this document? In her presence? Daniel didn't hesitate. Yes, Your Honor. The mistress leaned back, satisfied, and across from them, Angela Wallace, his wife, sat still as marble. No tears. No words. Just silence. The kind that could haunt a soul. The woman who refused to break Angela's silence wasn't weakness. It was armor. Every eye in that courtroom saw a woman betrayed, but few knew the weight she carried in that calm. She had spent her life helping others stand when they were broken. A nurse by profession. She'd held the hands of dying soldiers, comforted grieving mothers, and stayed awake through countless nights of human suffering. She knew pain. She had lived inside it, and yet here she was, being quietly humiliated by the man she once believed would protect her forever. Daniel had once been her everything, her friend, her partner, her dreamer. They met at a charity blood drive when Angela was fresh out of nursing school. He was a young lawyer, bright, idealistic, funny. The kind of man who made promises like forever sound real. When he proposed, she thought she'd found safety. When they built their home, she thought she found peace. But peace never lasts long in the heart of ambition. When Daniel lost his first big case, it was Angela who paid their bills. She took extra shifts, sometimes sleeping in hospital break rooms. She never complained. She believed in him, and when he finally succeeded, when his name appeared on the door of his own law firm, she was there in the front row, tears shining in her eyes. Her pride was his victory. But power has a way of testing loyalty. As Daniel's fame grew, so did his pride. You began to see Angela less as a partner and more as an accessory, something safe, predictable, too familiar. He traded family dinners for business parties, conversations for phone calls, love for status. The day Angela found another woman's earring in their car, she didn't cry. She just drove home, washed her hands, and sat alone at the kitchen table for hours. That was the night her love for him died, quietly, like a candle flickering out. Now, in the courtroom, the humiliation was public. The mistress sat close enough to touch him, her perfume mixing with the scent of Angela's old world, antiseptic, clean. Simple. Every person watching could feel the tension. The judge began the proceedings, his tone formal and detached. Mrs. Wallace, do you contest this divorce? Angela looked up slowly. Her voice, soft yet clear, filled the room. No. Your Honor, I accept what's already been decided. The mistress crossed her legs with a satisfied flick, the corner of her lip curling. Daniel leaned forward, eager to end it. Your Honor, I think we can move quickly. Everything's settled, but the judge didn't move. His eyes lingered on Angela's calm. Something about her stillness unsettled him. He had seen broken wives, angry wives, hysterical wives, but never one like this. There was something sacred about her restraint. Minutes passed as he reviewed the documents. Then something shifted. The judge's brow furrowed. He flipped another page. His jaw tightened. Mr. Wallace, he said, voice deepening, I see here that your firm was financed with Mrs. Wallace's inheritance funds. Is that correct? Daniel hesitated. She invested. Yes, but that was years ago. I answered the question. The judge interrupted. Did she provide the capital that built your business? Daniel swallowed. Yes, but it was our shared, not shared. The judge cut in. Don't twist the truth in my courtroom. A ripple of whispers passed through the crowd. The mistress's smirk vanished. The judge's voice grew colder. You're divorcing the woman who built your foundation. You owe her half that firm, and by law, possibly more. Angela's gaze didn't waver. She didn't smile. She didn't even look at Daniel. Her silence said everything. Daniel's confidence cracked. Your Honor, this isn't necessary. The judge slammed his hand on the desk, not in anger, but in authority. What's unnecessary is deceit. This woman stood by you when you had nothing. She built you. And now, you sit beside another woman as if loyalty is disposable? The room went utterly still. Even the clerk looked away in shame. The judge turned to Angela, his tone softening. Mrs. Wallace, you are entitled to 55% of the assets, including partial ownership of Wallace and Associates. The court recognizes your financial and emotional contribution to this success. Angela blinked slowly. Thank you, Your Honor. Her words were calm, but her voice carried a quiet thunder, the sound of justice reclaiming its breath. Daniel's pen slipped from his hand. The mistress stared at the floor. Angela stood. Her movements were deliberate, graceful. She gathered her purse, stood tall, and turned toward the exit. Daniel whispered her name, not loud, not proud, but broken. Angela. Please. She paused just long enough to look at him, a single glance that held 12 years of love, pain, and disappointment. Then she said softly, You didn't lose me today, Daniel. You lost a woman who would have stood by you for life. And she walked out. Each line came from silence. Not revenge, the kind of silence that heals deeper than any apology. Outside, the autumn air tasted new. The world seemed brighter, lighter. Angela stepped down the courthouse stairs, wind brushing her face like freedom itself. Reporters waited. Cameras flashed, but she didn't stop. She didn't need validation. Behind her, Daniel sat frozen, the man who had everything, now haunted by the woman who asked for nothing but peace. The mistress, once bold, slipped out the side door, alone, because guilt has a way of stripping the shine off everything fake. Later that night, Angela returned to the small apartment she had rented months earlier. She brewed a cup of tea, turned on her favorite jazz record, and for the first time in years smiled. Peace wasn't the absence of noise. It was this quiet strength, earned and deserved. She didn't need to shout to win. She just needed to stand tall. As the music filled the room, her phone buzzed with messages, old friends, co-workers, even strangers who had seen her story online. Messages of admiration, of respect, of quiet awe. Weeks later, Wallace and Associates released a public statement naming Angela Wallace as co-owner and co-founder. The firm's value rose. Daniel's reputation, however, never recovered, and though Angela never stepped foot in that office again, her name on that door stood as a reminder. Honor may be forgotten by the proud, but it is never erased by the truth. Angela's story isn't about revenge. It's about restoration. She didn't fight with rage. She stood with dignity, because true power doesn't need noise. It needs truth, and sometimes the loudest victory is silence.